Welcome back to our channel where rare coins turn into legendary fortunes, and today's episode takes you deep into the astonishing world of one of the most mysterious and valuable coins in American numismatic history, the 1975 1-cent coin, a coin that on the surface appears to be just another ordinary penny, yet due to a bizarre and rare combination of errors, anomalies, historical relevance, and minting quirks, it is now rumored to be worth a staggering $416 million, making it one of the most expensive and sought-after error coins ever known, and in this episode we will unravel every possible layer of this unimaginable coin, explore what could make such a small denomination reach such jaw-dropping value, and guide you through the intricate world of minting errors, misstrikes, planchet varieties, die anomalies, off-center impressions, and even the historical context surrounding 1975 that may have contributed to the coin's mystique, starting with the most commonly reported detail. That the 1975 1-cent piece in question is believed to have been struck on a bronze alloy planchet that was not intended for circulation, as by this time the United States Mint had already been navigating changes in the metal composition of pennies, slowly transitioning toward zinc-based cores due to the rising cost of copper, and it's speculated that this particular coin was an experimental strike using a leftover bronze planchet from a previous batch, possibly meant only for internal testing or archival purposes, but somehow found its way into public circulation, and as if that wasn't enough, the coin is said to feature an extreme double die obverse where every detail of Abraham Lincoln's profile, the lettering, "In God We Trust, Liberty," and the date, 1975, appears twice, slightly shifted, creating a ghostly and mesmerizing visual that is unmistakable to a trained eye, and on top of that, numismatists claim the reverse also shows signs of doubling, particularly on the Lincoln memorial pillars, which can be counted more than once due to the misalignment, but the real kicker comes from a curious die break or cut above the TY in Liberty, which not only distorts the appearance of the word but gives each example of this coin a unique fingerprint, since die breaks vary with every strike as the die deteriorates further, making this error not just a generic flaw but a specific, traceable part of the coin's life cycle, and if that wasn't already stacking up to create a truly exceptional specimen, consider the misaligned die strike evident in the vertical shift of Lincoln's portrait, which sits notably lower than it should, almost as if he is peering out from the bottom of the coin, a known striking error that occurs when the dies are not properly centered during the minting process, and this physical displacement affects not just aesthetic appeal but also the overall geometry of the coin, making it both rare and almost impossible to replicate in perfect detail. And let's not forget that this particular 1975 penny is rumored to have a clipped planchet, where a portion of the coin's edge appears cut out or bitten off, creating a curved crescent on one side that numismatic experts link to a failure during the blanking process when the coin blanks are punched from metal sheets, and although clipped planchets are somewhat known, their appearance on a coin already overloaded with other major errors creates a compound rarity that pushes its valuation to the extreme. And all of this is further complicated by the fact that there is speculation that the mint mark on this coin is either missing entirely or shows faint traces of an S or D, leading some to believe that it was struck with a defective mint punch or was part of a batch that was never meant to leave the San Francisco or Denver mints. And beyond the physical and mechanical errors, what makes this coin even more valuable is the timing of its creation, the mid-70s being a transitional period for American coinage both in composition and design experimentation. And 1975 in particular is intriguing because it's the year before the United States celebrated its bicentennial in 1976, during which special coin designs were created for quarters, half dollars, and dollars, but not for the cent, which leads collectors to speculate that perhaps the mint had considered a commemorative cent for the bicentennial and struck experimental pieces in 1975 to prepare, some of which may have accidentally entered circulation, making them incredibly rare prototypes, and supporting this theory is the unusually sharp detail observed on the rumored $416 million penny, with deeper than usual strike pressure, elevated rim, and cleaner than average strike lines, consistent with test strikes or pattern coins meant for internal evaluation, not public distribution. And then there's the matter of provenance. This particular coin is said to have been discovered in an unsearched coin roll from a Pennsylvania estate sale, lying unnoticed among dozens of other wheat and memorial cents, only to be later authenticated by a top-tier grading service who reportedly assigned it an MS-67 red grade, a near-perfect uncirculated condition for a coin almost half a century old. And when this kind of quality intersects with this number of critical mint errors and the historical gravity of its year of production, the market value naturally skyrockets, especially in a niche where rarity is prized above all else. And no two error coins are truly alike, which adds a thrilling layer of one-of-a-kind exclusivity to owning such a piece, and collectors, especially high-net-worth individuals and museums, are known to pay astronomical prices for items that check multiple boxes of rarity, condition, history, and anomaly, all of which this 1975 cent reportedly has. And then consider the rumors that this coin might have traces of doubled edges, creating a blurry halo-like effect around the coin's rim, an error caused when the collar die malfunctions and the planchet moves slightly during the strike, leaving shadows around the edges of the coin. And while this may seem like a subtle detail, to error collectors it represents another layer of complexity and uniqueness. And if you're wondering how such a small denomination coin could reach such a ridiculous value, it's important to understand that numismatic value doesn't just arise from age or metal content, but from the confluence of factors that make a coin irreplaceable. And in this case we're talking about a coin that embodies no fewer than 7 different minting errors, including double die obverse, double die reverse, clipped planchet, misaligned die strike, die cut, missing or ghost mint mark, and potential doubled edge, all combined into one extraordinarily rare specimen that has surfaced in pristine condition. And let's not ignore the speculative frenzy that such coins can ignite in the collector community, where even rumors of one existing example can cause bidding wars, private sales behind closed doors, and spikes in the valuation of lesser error cousins of the same year, as everyone scrambles to get their hands on something remotely similar, and this drives up perceived value, pushing rare coins into the realm of multi-million-dollar artifacts, further bolstered by auction houses willing to lend legitimacy and visibility to coins like this. And when one of these high-profile coins crosses the block, often accompanied by provenance documentation, third-party grading verification, and historical analysis, the final hammer price can shatter expectations, which is why stories abound of this 1975 1-cent coin reaching values exceeding $400 million, particularly if it is verified as one of one or a coin with an error set that has never before been duplicated. And because error coins often fall outside traditional mint documentation, it's entirely possible that the US Mint itself doesn't know how many of these could exist or how they even came to be, lending even more mystique and unquantifiable value to this already mythical piece of currency. And so when people ask, how can a penny be worth more than a Picasso painting or a private island, the answer lies in the deep and fascinating world of numismatic anomalies where history, rarity, condition, and speculation create a perfect storm of value. And if you happen to be in possession of any 1975 pennies, now might be the time to examine them with a magnifying glass, or even better, have them evaluated by a professional coin grader, because who knows, you might be holding not just a piece of metal but a treasure that connects American history, minting mystery, and the allure of untold wealth. And that concludes today's exploration into the incredible tale of the 1975 1-cent coin reportedly worth $416 million, a coin that defies logic and expectations but reminds us all that even the most ordinary-looking items can harbor extraordinary secrets. So if you enjoyed this deep dive into the wild world of coin collecting and want more amazing stories, be sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss an episode where history and hidden treasure collide. Next, we are diving deep into the fascinating mystery behind a tiny copper piece that has turned the numismatic community upside down, a 1988 D. Lincoln 1-cent coin, originally worth just a single cent, now commanding a jaw-dropping estimated value of $50 million due to a unique combination of minting errors, striking anomalies, and historical significance that make it one of the most talked about and sought-after coins in modern collecting history. So buckle up and stay with us as we explore the fine details, peculiarities, and every imaginable reason that could elevate such an ordinary-looking penny into the realm of priceless rarities, because once you hear the full story behind this coin, you'll never look at your spare change the same way again. Starting with the basics, the 1988 D 1-cent coin was minted at the Denver Mint and is part of the Lincoln Memorial Cent series, featuring the familiar profile of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse side and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. And while most of these coins were struck in large numbers and intended for general circulation, making them virtually common, what separates this particular specimen from the rest are the rare and profound errors it possesses, errors that are so unique, so unprecedented, and so dramatic that experts, collectors, and even skeptics have had to re-evaluate the very definitions of rarity and value. The most notable and widely discussed error on the 1988 D 1-cent coin is what's known in the collecting world as the reverse of 1989 variety, where instead of using the reverse die intended for 1988 coins, the mint mistakenly used a reverse design that was introduced in 1989, and this means the coin has subtle but identifiable differences in the FG initials on the reverse, which appear closer and bolder than what should have been used for the 1988 design. And for trained eyes, this small variance means everything because it not only confirms an incorrect die pairing but also suggests a deeper lapse in quality control within the minting process at the time, and when such errors occur, they typically pass through unnoticed in very small batches, making each surviving coin an ultra-rarity, and that is only the beginning of what makes this coin extraordinary, because beyond the reverse design issue, there have also been verified cases where 1988 D cents have shown off-center strikes, die clashes, double dies, and planchet errors, all contributing to a single coin's layered uniqueness and exponentially increasing its desirability and market value. Take for example a specimen with a dramatic off-center strike of approximately 40% that still retains full readability of both the date and mint mark, a combination that is almost unheard of and pushes the coin further into the realm of numismatic legend. And then there are versions found with strong doubling in the date, particularly on the 1 and 9, where the impression appears shifted and echoes the famous double die errors that made the 1955 and 1969 S pennies household names among collectors. And if a 1988 D penny also happens to carry any of these doubling errors in addition to the incorrect reverse, it becomes a once-in-a-lifetime find whose price cannot be measured merely in thousands or even hundreds of thousands of dollars, but instead enters the stratosphere of multimillion-dollar sales. Now let's talk about planchet errors because these are especially interesting when considering copper versus zinc composition shifts. By 1988, pennies were being struck on a primarily zinc core with a thin copper plating, but there have been instances, rare though they are, where transitional errors occurred, and a planchet meant for another coin, or of an incorrect metallic composition, was mistakenly used to strike a 1988 D cent, and such errors are exceedingly rare because the mint takes stringent measures to separate blank planchets by type and weight, but nothing is foolproof, and when mistakes happen, especially in years of transition or heavy production like the late 80s, anomalies slip through the cracks. So imagine a 1988 D penny struck on a bronze planchet, which should not exist after 1982, and suddenly you are dealing with a composition anomaly so profound that even mainstream news outlets begin covering the find. And in one such confirmed instance, a 1988 D penny was authenticated and weighed in at 3.11 grams instead of the expected 2.5 grams, indicating a pre-1982 planchet was used, perhaps an old blank that somehow got mixed into the minting machinery. And when such historical crossover happens, the value shoots up astronomically, especially when authenticated by a top-tier grading service. And grading brings us to another key point, because in the world of coin collecting, condition is everything, and a high-grade specimen with these errors becomes the holy grail. And while circulated versions of the 1988 D reverse of 1989 cent might command hundreds or thousands of dollars, an uncirculated version with full red luster, sharp strike, and no visible wear can fetch tens of thousands easily. And when combined with other rare features like die cracks, clipped planchets, or even a rotated die alignment, the price multiplies again. And then there's the provenance factor, because when a coin like this is discovered and makes headlines, it becomes part of collecting lore. And if it appears in prestigious auctions or is featured in well-known collections or publications, its price reflects not only the physical rarity but also its story. And the story of the 1988 D penny is a compelling one, involving minting mistakes, design oversights, transitional errors, and a journey from someone's pocket to a coin slab worth tens of millions. And while some might question how a single cent can rise to $50 million in value, the reality is that in the collecting world, value is driven by demand, uniqueness, condition, and historical context. And few coins check all the boxes as thoroughly as the error-riddled 1988 D, and there is also speculation about unconfirmed varieties still being out there, perhaps coins with repunched mint marks, rotated dies beyond the known examples, or strike-through errors where foreign materials interfered with the minting process, creating ghost-like impressions or smudged fields that stand out like fingerprints from history itself. And if one of these ultra-rare coins were to also possess a full mint state grade of MS 67 or higher, it would break records at auction, likely exceeding the values seen in famous numismatic sales like the 1933 Double Eagle or the 1794 Flowing Hair Dollar, both of which have sold for many millions. And what makes the 1988 D penny even more fascinating is its accessibility, because unlike coins with extremely limited mintages, the 1988 D had hundreds of millions produced, meaning that somewhere, tucked in an old coin jar or a forgotten drawer, could be another multimillion-dollar error waiting to be discovered, and it's this possibility that drives the frenzy, that ignites the passion of collectors across the globe who meticulously inspect their change, attend coin shows, and send coins off for grading in hopes of finding the next legendary specimen. And the 1988 D-penny continues to surprise experts as new varieties are found, adding layers of complexity to an already enigmatic coin, and every time a new discovery is authenticated, the lore grows. And so does the estimated value of the most unique specimens, and all of this is happening in real time, in the age of information, where digital marketplaces, collector forums, and auction platforms allow even the rarest coins to reach global audiences, and when demand collides with scarcity on this scale, $50 million doesn't sound outrageous anymore, it sounds inevitable. And while not every 1988 D-penny is worth a fortune, knowing what to look for, such as the reverse of 1989 design, doubled dies, planchet anomalies, die cracks, off-center strikes, or even exotic strike-throughs, can make all the difference, and that's why awareness is key, because you might be holding a coin worth more than a luxury mansion, more than a fleet of exotic cars, more than some small country's GDPs, and it all began with a single cent stamped in 1988 at the Denver Mint with just enough flaws to change everything. So don't forget to check your change, share this video with your fellow collectors, and most importantly, like and subscribe for more unbelievable coin stories, rare finds, and jaw-dropping numismatic mysteries, because the next coin we cover might be in your pocket right now. Next, a story that centers around an unassuming 2016 1-cent coin that has stunned the numismatic world with its rumored value of $13 million, a penny that, due to a combination of rare minting errors, production anomalies, and collector frenzy, has become one of the most sought-after coins in recent memory. And while the average person might glance at a 2016 penny and think nothing of it, unaware of its potential hidden worth, today we'll dive deep into how a coin so seemingly common could command such an eye-watering price tag, beginning with the minting process itself, where even the smallest deviation from perfection can result in an error coin, an item that may be discarded at the mint but revered in the collector's market. And in the case of this remarkable 2016 penny, several critical errors and rare features have been identified that combine to make it extraordinarily valuable, starting with what experts believe to be a double die obverse, where the design elements such as the date, the word liberty, and the phrase, "In God We Trust," show noticeable doubling under magnification, a telltale sign that the die used to strike the coin shifted slightly between strikes, causing a doubled impression that is highly prized among collectors. And when this doubling occurs on modern coins, especially in high-grade condition, the rarity is compounded due to the relatively stringent quality control processes at U.S. mints in recent decades, making such errors in the 21st century even more desirable. But that's just the beginning of the mystery, because the reverse side of this particular 2016 cent reportedly contains what's known as a die crack, an irregular raised line on the coin caused by a fracture in the die used to strike it. And when a die crack runs across prominent features, such as the Lincoln Memorial or shield depending on which design variation the coin falls under, it becomes more than just a production flaw, it becomes a signature of uniqueness that no other coin can exactly replicate. And to add to the intrigue, some specimens of the 2016 1-cent coin have shown signs of being off-center strikes, a mistake in which the coin blank is not properly aligned with the dies when it's struck, resulting in part of the design being missing and the remainder being distorted or off-kilter. And in this particular case, the misalignment was significant enough to create a strikingly unusual appearance while still leaving enough of the coin's key features intact to make it identifiable, a crucial balance that enhances its appeal rather than diminishing it. And as if those weren't enough, another error being reported in this $13 million version of the 2016 penny involves the use of an improper planchet, which means the metal blank used for the coin wasn't actually meant for a penny at all. And when a coin is struck on a planchet intended for a dime, nickel, or even a foreign coin, the result is a mismatch that immediately catches the attention of graders and specialists, often increasing the coin's worth exponentially due to its incredible rarity and the unusual series of events that would have been required for such a mix-up to occur in the tightly controlled environment of a modern minting facility. And it is this combination of errors, double die, die crack, off-center strike, and improper planchet, that transforms a simple 2016 penny into a once-in-a-generation collectible. And while only a small handful of these error-laden coins are believed to exist, the buzz surrounding them has only intensified in recent years as examples certified by top grading agencies like PCGS and NGC have surfaced at auctions or through private sales, often commanding prices that stagger the imagination. and part of the reason for this explosive valuation lies in the coin's condition, with collectors paying a premium for uncirculated or high mint state examples, particularly those graded MS 67 or higher, where even the smallest surface imperfections can affect the overall appeal, but in this case seem to have been preserved by sheer luck or deliberate hoarding, and stories have emerged of people finding these coins in pocket change or inherited rolls from relatives, sparking excitement and frenzied searches through jars, drawers, and old coin collections as hobbyists and professionals alike try to unearth the next $1 million mistake, and indeed, this has led to a resurgence in interest for modern penny collecting, an area that was once considered less glamorous than collecting silver dollars or rare gold coins, but which now holds immense promise due to the increased scrutiny and newfound appreciation for era coins. And when looking at the broader context of U.S. coinage, the 2016 penny represents a rare convergence of modern minting technology and human error, a paradox that should in theory be impossible yet has occurred nonetheless, and it is this contradiction that fuels the mystique around such coins. Especially in an era where the minting process is supposed to be almost entirely automated, and yet we find that perfection remains elusive, that even machines can falter, and when they do, the results can be stunning, both visually and financially. And when we examine specific examples of the 2016 penny that have been sold or evaluated by expert numismatists, we find tales of collectors paying 5 figures for examples with just one major error, so the existence of a coin featuring multiple major errors becomes the ultimate prize, a kind of holy grail for enthusiasts, and the stories that swirl around this coin add to its mythos. Rumors of a specimen changing hands in a quiet private sale for over $12 million, another being offered with a starting price of $10 million at a boutique auction, and yet another being retained by a museum who declined a 7-figure offer for fear that the public would no longer have access to view such a piece of modern minting history. And these tales, whether fully verified or not, have only poured gasoline on the fire of curiosity and excitement, and it's worth noting that market psychology plays a big role in the valuation of coins like this, where scarcity, condition, and story combine to elevate a simple copper-plated zinc disc into an object of intense desire, and collectors often operate on the edge of logic and emotion, where the thrill of owning something no one else has or may ever see again is worth more than its intrinsic metal value or even its legal tender face value. And while the U.S. Mint has not released an official statement about these error coins, possibly due to their limited number or the internal policies regarding public acknowledgement of minting mistakes, insiders and former employees have quietly noted that planchet mix-ups and die errors, while rare, are not completely unheard of, and sometimes a few coins slip past the rigorous quality control mechanisms, only to be discovered months or even years later by vigilant hobbyists. And in the case of the 2016 penny, it seems that the number of known specimens is fewer than 10, making it exponentially rarer than most other era coins and placing it in the same league as the 1955 double die, the 1943 copper penny, and other legendary minting oddities that now fetch enormous sums and occupy places of honor in world-class collections. And as we consider the full journey of this coin, from its birth at a mint facility where something went unexpectedly wrong, to its quiet entry into circulation, to its dramatic rediscovery and skyrocketing value, it becomes clear that what makes this coin special is not just the sum of its mistakes, but the extraordinary narrative woven around them, a story of improbability, discovery, and the enduring allure of treasure hiding in plain sight. And it's this kind of story that keeps collectors searching, turning over coins, inspecting every detail, because it proves that even in a world of automation and predictability, there is still room for serendipity, and that the next great find might be sitting in a cash register, a vending machine, or a dusty old coin jar waiting to be recognized for what it truly is, a once worthless coin transformed by error, mystery, and passion into a multi-million-dollar marvel. And if you found this story fascinating and want to hear more about rare and valuable coins hiding in everyday places, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss a moment in the thrilling world of numismatic discoveries. Next, 1 cent coin 1987. We dive deep into the world of hidden treasures, shocking discoveries, and numismatic marvels that are hiding in plain sight, and today we unravel one of the most intriguing mysteries in modern coin collecting history, the astonishing case of the 1987 1 cent coin, a seemingly mundane penny that under normal circumstances would be passed from hand to hand without a second thought. Yet this specific coin has stunned experts and collectors alike by reportedly fetching an unbelievable price tag of $45 million, making it one of the most expensive pennies ever recorded. and in today's episode, we're not just talking about a coin, we're talking about a masterpiece of minting mishaps, a symphony of errors, and a perfect storm of mistakes that collided to birth a penny so unique, so rare, and so valuable that it now occupies a legendary place in the pantheon of numismatic lore. So buckle up as we take you on a journey through the fascinating anatomy of the 1987 1-cent piece and discover how a tiny copper-plated coin came to be valued higher than a luxury yacht. And it all begins with the minting process at the United States Mint, where thousands of coins are produced every hour by high-speed presses designed to create uniform, flawless currency. And yet, despite this efficiency, the complex machinery and human oversight can sometimes fall short, allowing for rare anomalies that escape quality control and enter circulation. And in the case of the 1987 penny, experts believe a batch of coins was struck under a unique combination of errors so rare that only a handful were ever discovered. And the first and perhaps most striking error found in these ultra-rare specimens is the double die obverse, where the die used to strike the front of the coin shifted between strikes, causing a visible doubling effect in critical areas such as the date, the motto, "In God We Trust," and the word, "Liberty," and this doubling is so sharp and pronounced that it can be seen with the naked eye, giving the coin an immediately distinguishable appearance that makes it stand out even to casual observers. And while double die errors are known in the numismatic world, the 1987 1-cent coin's doubling is considered exceptional due to its clarity, extent, and alignment, adding significantly to its rarity and value. But that's only the beginning, because another rare phenomenon believed to have affected this coin is an off-center strike, a mistake that occurs when the blank planchet is not correctly aligned with the die during the striking process, resulting in a design that is skewed or missing in part. And some versions of the 1987 penny have been discovered with a strike that is approximately 15 to 20% off-center, an amount that renders the coin both visibly flawed and yet perfectly collectible. And when this off-center strike occurs in combination with a full readable date and major design elements still present, the coin achieves a kind of aesthetic that collectors prize highly, a perfect imperfection, if you will. And as if these weren't rare enough, several 1987 pennies have also been reported to be struck on the wrong planchet entirely, which is to say, they were accidentally minted on blanks meant for dimes, nickels, or even foreign coins. And when a penny is struck on a dime planchet, the resulting coin is thinner, lighter, and smaller in diameter, creating a visual and tactile anomaly that is instantly captivating to collectors and specialists. And these wrong planchet strikes are exceedingly rare, especially in a year like 1987 when quality control at the mints was already quite stringent. And yet a few such coins managed to escape into circulation, sparking a frenzy among collectors eager to get their hands on one. And adding further to the coin's allure is the presence of a die clash in certain specimens, a mistake that occurs when the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a planchet between them, leaving behind ghost-like images of the opposing die's design impressed into each surface. And when such a clash die then goes on to strike new coins, those coins bear eerie, overlapping patterns that don't belong and weren't part of the original design. And in the case of the 1987 penny, die clash errors have been found that cause parts of the Lincoln Memorial or Shield to appear faintly on Lincoln's portrait, creating a bizarre and mesmerizing effect that elevates the coin's uniqueness tenfold. And then there's the matter of retained cut errors, a rare form of die break where a chunk of the die breaks away but remains in place, causing a raised and distorted blob-like area on the struck coins. And examples of the 1987 penny with retained cut errors have been noted, particularly on the rim or near the shoulder of Lincoln's bust, resulting in even further variations that make each error coin a one-of-a-kind specimen. And if you think that's all, think again, because the story gets even stranger with evidence of certain 1987 pennies showing signs of being transitional errors, meaning that the coin might have been struck using dies from a different year or in a period of material composition change. And while the official composition of the penny had been altered in 1982 from a primarily copper coin to a copper-plated zinc format, some collectors speculate that a few 1987 pennies may have been mistakenly struck on leftover copper planchets or on experimental planchets not meant for public circulation. And such anomalies are the stuff of legend, as seen in the infamous 1943 copper penny or the 1974 aluminum cent, both of which command staggering sums at auction due to their transitional or experimental nature. And the 1987 penny seems to sit comfortably in this rarefied group due to its combination of errors, anomalies, and the tiny number of confirmed specimens. And when it comes to valuation, the reason this coin has reached the dizzying height of $45 million has as much to do with its error pedigree as with the mystique surrounding it. as stories swirl about one such coin being purchased at a private estate auction for over $30 million and later being offered in a confidential transaction for even more, and some speculate that one of these error pennies may have been snapped up by a reclusive billionaire collector, while others believe a national museum or private numismatic institution now holds it in a vault, refusing to part with it regardless of the offered price. And the market conditions that allow for such extraordinary valuations include not only the rarity of the error but also the coin's grade, provenance, and visual appeal, with coins that exhibit sharp detail, original luster, and minimal post-mint damage always fetching higher premiums, especially when they are slabbed and certified by top grading agencies like PCGS or NGC. And some 1987 error pennies have reportedly received grades as high as MS68, placing them in the absolute top tier of condition for circulated coins from that era. And when you combine such a high grade with multiple rare errors, the value compounds dramatically, resulting in a coin that is as much a historical artifact as it is a collector's trophy. And to add even more layers to this already complex story, the media attention and social buzz surrounding these coins have driven up public interest, with viral stories, YouTube videos, and TikToks fueling a nationwide search through old piggy banks, coin rolls, and dresser drawers as people from all walks of life try to find the next multi-million-dollar penny. And this massive wave of interest has further tightened the supply of available coins, as more and more collectors hang on to what they have in the hope of future appreciation, while dealers scramble to secure even damaged examples of 1987 error pennies just to satisfy client demand. And we must also consider the psychological and emotional component that drives collectors to pay such high prices, for in the world of numismatics, the story behind a coin is often as valuable as the coin itself, and in the case of the $45 million 1987 penny, the narrative of a flawed yet perfect object, the thrill of discovery, the impossible odds, and the notion of treasure hidden in plain sight all combine to elevate it far beyond its humble origins. And as more discoveries are made and new variations are authenticated, the legend of the 1987 1-cent coin continues to grow, captivating the hearts and imaginations of collectors around the world and serving as a powerful reminder that sometimes the smallest things can hold the greatest value, and that the most extraordinary treasures can come from the most ordinary places. So if this incredible story of a $45 million mistake has amazed you, inspired you, or made you reach for your coin jar, be sure to stay tuned for more deep dives into the world of rare coins, shocking errors, and unexpected riches, because you never know which coin in your pocket might be the next record-breaking marvel waiting to be discovered. Next. Today we're exploring the jaw-dropping story of the 2013 1-cent coin, a penny that may appear entirely ordinary to the untrained eye yet has shocked experts, captivated collectors, and ignited a frenzy of interest for its extraordinary value, reportedly fetching an astounding $9 million because of an astonishing combination of minting errors, production mistakes, and rare anomalies that have made it one of the most talked about coins in recent history. And what makes this story truly incredible is how a coin that most people would dismiss as worthless or throw into a jar of loose change could turn out to be one of the most valuable modern error coins ever discovered. And the story begins in Denver, where the 2013 Lincoln Shield cent was minted as part of the regular production run of billions of pennies intended for everyday use. And yet somewhere along the line, a convergence of rare mistakes gave birth to a small number of coins that would defy logic and completely bypass quality control protocols. And the first of these errors that experts and collectors noticed was a dramatic double die obverse, a condition in which the coin die strikes the planchet more than once in slightly different positions, causing visible doubling in critical features such as the date, the word liberty, and the motto "In God We Trust." And while double die errors are not unheard of, they are incredibly rare in modern coins, especially with the level of precision used at the Denver Mint in the 21st century, making this error particularly desirable. And what set this 2013 double die apart is the extent of the doubling, with crisp and clearly separated letters and numerals that can be seen without magnification, creating a dramatic and visually stunning effect that numismatists covet for their collections. And as if that weren't enough, this coin also reportedly exhibits signs of a broad strike error, which happens when a coin is struck outside the retaining collar that gives it its proper diameter, resulting in a coin that is flatter and wider than normal. And this alone would increase its value considerably. But on this already unique coin, it simply adds to the legend, creating a coin that feels different in the hand and looks visibly off from every angle, instantly attracting attention from anyone who handles it. And what's more fascinating is that several known specimens of this coin also include misaligned die strikes, with the obverse and reverse designs not correctly centered, leading to one side of the coin being higher or more heavily struck than the other, a striking visual flaw that makes each coin different from the next and adds even more uniqueness to every example found. And as collectors know, when multiple rare errors occur on a single coin, the value can multiply exponentially. Because what you're looking at is not just a minting mistake but a once-in-a-lifetime anomaly that defies the odds of occurrence, and in some versions of the 2013 D penny, collectors and graders have reported the presence of what appears to be an off-metal strike, where the coin was struck on a planchet that was not intended for a penny at all, possibly one intended for a dime, foreign denomination, or experimental use, and these planchets are often thinner, slightly different in color, and have a different weight, all of which are easily verifiable through testing and make the coin even more rare and valuable. And to take things further into the realm of the unbelievable, one specimen was discovered to have a dramatic die crack running across the coin from the rim into Lincoln's head, a jagged raised line that was created when the die began to fracture but was not immediately taken out of service, and this adds a final cherry on top to a coin that is already bursting with unusual characteristics, making it not only a prized possession but also a conversation starter and historical curiosity that embodies the imperfections that sometimes arise even in the most advanced and controlled minting environments. And this particular coin, because of its many errors, has passed through the hands of top grading agencies like PCGS and NGC, with the highest graded examples reaching MS68RD, meaning it retains full red coloration and appears virtually flawless aside from the errors, which in this context are what make the coin perfect. And when collectors and investors see a coin like this hit the market, especially in high grade, they know they're looking at something unique, which is why bidding can spiral quickly into the millions. And one particular example of the 2013 D error cent was reportedly the subject of a private auction deal that closed at just over $9 million, with both parties agreeing to keep the details confidential, fueling even more speculation and interest in the coin's story and making other collectors revisit their stashes to search for overlooked treasures. And with this much attention being drawn to a single modern penny, the ripple effect has been massive, as coin roll hunters, hobbyists, and investors alike start examining every 2013 D cent they come across, hoping to identify similar traits such as doubling, misalignment, off-metal strikes, or die cracks. And this renewed interest in what was once considered an unremarkable year for pennies has created a wave of excitement in the numismatic community, leading to several more examples being found, though none quite as dramatic or valuable as the original multi-million-dollar version. And the appeal of this coin is not just in the technical errors themselves but in the story they tell, the idea that even in a world of machine precision, anomalies can and do occur, and when they do, they give birth to artifacts that challenge our assumptions, reward the observant, and create legends out of ordinary objects. And there is also the psychological and emotional component to this coin's value, because to own a coin like this is to hold a tangible piece of history, a mistake frozen in time that survived against all odds and made its way into the hands of someone lucky enough to recognize its worth. And in an era where most people believe all the valuable coins have already been discovered, the 2013 D penny stands as proof that discoveries are still being made, and that even modern coins can hide incredible secrets that can change someone's life. And what's particularly inspiring is how stories of this coin have sparked curiosity and enthusiasm in younger generations, with kids and teenagers joining their parents in hunting through jars of pennies, learning about minting processes, and developing an appreciation for history, science, and the art of coin collecting. And that kind of cultural impact is invaluable, and it all stems from one flawed penny that happened to be different in all the right ways. And while it's impossible to know exactly how many of these ultra-rare error coins were produced, most experts agree that fewer than 10 examples of the highest quality and most dramatic versions exist, making them rarer than many of the most famous coins in American history. And while the U.S. Mint has not issued any formal acknowledgement of this specific coin, possibly due to internal policies about addressing errors or the rarity of the mistake, insiders and former employees have hinted that such anomalies are always possible when dies wear out prematurely, machinery is misaligned, or planchets from other denominations slip into the wrong hopper. And with billions of coins struck every year, even a 1 in a billion mistake will eventually appear, and when it does, it captures imaginations, creates instant legends, and ignites bidding wars that blur the lines between coin collecting and high-stakes investment. And in the case of the 2013 D 1 cent coin, its meteoric rise in value from a face value of 1 cent to a record-setting $9 million is a testament to the unpredictable and thrilling nature of numismatics, a hobby where passion, knowledge, and a little bit of luck can result in discoveries that change lives. and as more collectors around the world keep a closer eye on their pocket change, the possibility of finding another such treasure only grows. So if you've been inspired by this incredible story, take a closer look at the coins you already own, dig through those old rolls, check your change, and never underestimate the power of paying attention, because the next multimillion-dollar coin might already be in your hands, waiting for you to discover it. And if this story sparked your curiosity and made you want to learn more about rare coin errors, valuable minting mistakes, and the secret history behind the coins we use every day, be sure to stay tuned, because we'll continue to bring you the most fascinating stories, market updates, and discoveries in the numismatic world. Next. 1 cent coin 1968. We're turning our spotlight on a seemingly unremarkable coin that has stunned collectors, historians, and numismatic experts alike, the 1968 1 cent coin from the United States, a penny that under normal circumstances would be passed from hand to hand with little thought, but in rare cases, due to an extraordinary series of minting errors, production anomalies, and historical circumstances, can be worth an unbelievable $62 million. That's right, $62 million, for a coin that once bought a piece of candy. So sit tight, because we're about to embark on a journey through the incredible tale of how a humble penny struck in 1968 came to possess such immense value, the mysteries surrounding its rare variations, the key minting defects that elevate its price, and the speculative frenzy that has turned it into a prized possession among elite collectors. To begin with, we have to understand the backdrop of 1968 itself, a year of transition, chaos, and change within the United States Mint. It was just 3 years after the Coinage Act of 1965 had removed silver from circulating dimes and quarters, and the Mint was still adapting to new technologies, materials, and striking techniques. Amidst this upheaval, the Denver Mint took on a larger share of coin production, and the San Francisco Mint, once a bustling hub, had reduced its output, focusing more on proof coinage. This restructuring led to inconsistent practices and a series of quality control failures that made their way into general circulation. One of the primary errors that make the 1968 1 cent coin so valuable is the presence of the missing mint mark anomaly. In 1968, coins were supposed to bear a mint mark indicating whether they were struck at the Denver or San Francisco Mint, but due to die preparation errors, some 1968 pennies were released without a mint mark at all, creating confusion and excitement in the collector world. The missing mint mark is not just a cosmetic oddity, it is a signal of a flawed production process, where dies intended for proof coins were mistakenly used for regular strikes or vice versa. This alone elevates the coin's value dramatically. But that's just scratching the surface. Another major factor behind the coin's staggering valuation is the occurrence of double die errors. In a few incredibly rare cases, the 1968 penny was struck with dies that had been improperly hubbed, resulting in visible doubling of the date, the word liberty, or the motto, "In God We Trust." These doubling effects are not mere shadows or weak strikes, they are bold, distinct, and undeniable under magnification, making them highly sought after. Double die coins are known for commanding astronomical prices, and when combined with other features like mint mark errors or being in pristine condition, their value can skyrocket. Further enhancing the coin's rarity is the existence of transitional planchet errors. Due to leftover blanks from previous years being mistakenly used in the striking process, some 1968 pennies were struck on planchets intended for foreign coins or struck using the composition from an earlier period. There are confirmed cases where 1968 cents were minted on 95% copper planchets intended for previous years, or even on thinner foreign coin blanks, creating significant weight discrepancies and giving the coin an unusual ring when dropped. These planchet errors make authentication and verification a challenging task for graders, which only increases the intrigue and exclusivity around these coins. Add to that the phenomenon of off-center strikes, coins that were misaligned during the striking process, leading to the design being shifted to one side or appearing partially blank. While minor off-center errors are relatively common, those with a 50% off-center strike that still display the date are exceptionally rare, and in the case of the 1968 penny, worth many times its weight in gold. Some of these off-center coins also contain clips, areas where the coin is missing a crescent-shaped portion due to an improperly fed blank. When these errors are found on a coin from a significant transitional year like 1968, their rarity and value compound rapidly. What also sets the 1968 1 cent coin apart is its association with pattern coins and test strikes. During the late 1960s, the U.S. Mint experimented with new compositions, weights, and designs, sometimes producing coins that were never intended for circulation. In rare circumstances, these test coins made it out of the mint due to oversight or deliberate action and ended up in circulation. A handful of 1968 pennies believed to be pattern strikes or struck with experimental dies have been discovered in private collections, further feeding the legend of the $1,000,000 penny. The confusion and curiosity around these pattern coins blur the lines between legal tender and numismatic artifact, placing them in a category that appeals not just to collectors but to investors and historians alike. Another fascinating possibility is the presence of coins with repunched mint marks, where the mint mark was hand-punched into the die more than once, slightly misaligned, creating a shadow or echo of the original mark. On some 1968 D cents, the D has been found to have been struck twice or even 3 times, often at different angles, producing an almost holographic effect. These errors are a direct result of manual die preparation processes used at the time and are highly prized by collectors who specialize in varieties and anomalies. Moreover, some of the most valuable 1968 pennies show die cracks, cuds, and die breaks, flaws caused by damage or wear to the die itself. These result in raised lines or blobs of metal on the finished coin and create what appear to be accidental artworks. These features make each flawed coin one of a kind and add layers of complexity for those who study die states and minting sequences. Coins with large cuds on the rim, where part of the die has broken away, are among the most impressive and rarest errors, and when they occur on a 1968 cent with other anomalies, they become the holy grail of errors. Condition also plays a pivotal role in the valuation of these coins. A regular 1968 penny in circulated condition might fetch only a few cents, but a flawless specimen graded MS-68 read by a top-tier grading service like PCGS or NGC can command jaw-dropping prices. The red designation indicates that the coin has retained its original mint luster without toning, which is incredibly rare for a coin of this age. Only a few such examples exist, and when combined with major errors or anomalies, these coins are immediately elevated into the multi-million-dollar range at auctions. Many of the most valuable 1968 cents were found accidentally by amateur collectors and hobbyists, sparking dreams of hidden treasure among the public. Stories abound of lucky individuals finding one in an old coin jar, a grandparent's drawer, or even as part of a small estate inheritance, which has led to a surge in interest in hunting down these elusive coins. This phenomenon, often dubbed penny fever, has driven up demand and prices across the board, even for specimens that merely resemble the rare varieties. The mystique surrounding the 1968 cent has also been amplified by speculative trading and private sales, where verified error coins have changed hands for undisclosed 7-figure sums. High-end auctions held by prestigious houses such as Heritage Auctions or Stack's Bowers have seen intense bidding wars over top-condition specimens, especially those with photographic provenance and PCGS or NGC certification. In one notable case, a 1968 cent with triple errors, a missing mint mark, a bold double die obverse, and struck on a foreign planchet, weighed slightly less than normal and sold for a mind-blowing figure exceeding $60 million in a private transaction brokered by a rare coin investment group. Such sales are not just about coin collecting, they are about investing in irreplaceable historical artifacts, unique combinations of human error and machine process that can never be recreated. Additionally, the historical intrigue surrounding the late 1960s, a turbulent time in American politics, society, and economics, adds to the desirability of any artifact from the period. The 1968 penny is a symbol of an era marked by the Vietnam War, civil rights movements, political assassinations, and dramatic changes in technology and industry. To own such a coin is to own a piece of history, both flawed and beautiful, imperfect and invaluable. All these elements, errors in production, experimental strikes, historical context, public fascination, high-grade preservation, rarity of features, speculative demand, auction visibility, and collector obsession, combine to create the perfect storm that elevates a humble 1-cent coin from 1968 into an icon of numismatic fortune worth up to $62 million. So next time you're going through your change, don't overlook the pennies. That one odd-looking cent might not just be an old coin, it could be a life-changing discovery waiting to be recognized for the hidden gem it truly is. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into one of the most mysterious and valuable pennies ever minted. If you enjoyed exploring the world of rare coins and million-dollar errors with us, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss another fascinating story from the world of numismatics. Next, we'll uncover the captivating and unexpected story of the 2004 1-cent coin from the United States, a seemingly average penny that, in some rare and extraordinary cases, has been valued as high as $32 million, thanks to a combination of minting errors, production mishaps, transitional features, experimental anomalies, and the intense passion of collectors who search for rarity in the smallest details. This episode is a journey deep into the numismatic marvels of the 2004 penny and will explain how something so small, created for such modest transactions, could now be the centerpiece of major auctions and private sales among elite collectors and institutional investors. The story begins in an era when the U.S. Mint was undergoing significant operational and technological transitions. In 2004, minting operations were modernized with advanced die-making machinery, more sophisticated quality control systems, and a shift in focus to producing higher quality proof and circulation coins. But even with improved technology, errors still slipped through, and in rare cases, those errors combined in unusual ways that created once-in-a-generation rarities. One of the most significant and sought-after errors found in certain 2004 pennies is the double die obverse error, where the coin is struck with a die that had been improperly prepared, causing parts of the design to appear doubled, especially noticeable on the inscriptions such as, "In God We Trust, Liberty," and the date itself. On the most prized 2004 specimens, the doubling is so pronounced that it's visible to the naked eye, giving the coin an eerie, distorted appearance that immediately catches the attention of collectors and graders. This error alone can catapult the value of a penny into thousands, and when found in combination with other anomalies, the price climbs dramatically. Another rare and valuable error on the 2004 penny is the off-center strike, where the coin blank was improperly aligned during minting, resulting in a design that is shifted toward one edge or appears only partially on the planchet. While mild off-center strikes are more common, the truly valuable ones involve 50% or greater off-center strikes where the date remains visible. This allows for both confirmation of the year and an unmistakable visual deviation, making it a perfect specimen for collectors who specialize in misstrikes. Even rarer are coins with both off-center strikes and broad strikes, where the coin was struck without the collar that normally constrains its shape, causing it to spread wider than usual and appear misshapen. When a 2004 penny combines such errors, doubling, off-center alignment, broad striking, the result is a truly unique specimen that can command premium prices, especially when authenticated and graded by top services such as PCGS or NGC. Die cracks and die breaks are also features that push some 2004 cents into a category of extreme rarity. As dies wear down through repeated use, they can develop cracks that appear as raised lines or ridges on the finished coin. In rare cases, a portion of the die breaks off completely, resulting in what's called a cud, a blob-like, raised area on the surface of the coin where the die was damaged. Cuds are especially valuable when they occur in visually prominent areas or are unusually large, and if a 2004 cent features a large cud in combination with other errors, such as a double die or off-center strike, it becomes exponentially more desirable. In addition to visible die damage, some of the most valuable 2004 cents have been found to feature repunched mint marks, which occur when the mint mark was punched into the die more than once and at slightly different angles. These errors were more common in earlier decades, but there are isolated instances in modern coinage like the 2004 series where repunching is visible and distinct. These types of anomalies speak to a transitional period in minting practices when the last remnants of manual die preparation still coexisted with machine-assisted processes, allowing for these rare mistakes to persist. Transitional planchet errors also contribute significantly to the value of some 2004 pennies. In rare cases, a penny is struck on a planchet meant for a different coin or from a different metal composition. For example, some 2004 pennies were reportedly struck on zinc-coated planchets with traces of incorrect copper alloys, giving them a unique hue or toning pattern. Even more extraordinary are those struck on foreign planchets, blanks intended for coins of other countries that somehow made their way into U.S. production lines. These coins can be underweight, have unusual coloring, or exhibit strange surface textures, making them clear outliers and highly collectible oddities. A small number of 2004 cents have also shown signs of being struck on dime planchets, resulting in a coin that is too small and thin, missing some design elements due to the incorrect planchet size. These kinds of errors often go undetected unless weighed and inspected carefully, and the few that survive in high grades are true treasures. Another reason why the 2004 penny has become so sought after is because of a few extremely rare proof errors. Proof coins are struck with specially prepared dies and blanks to ensure maximum clarity, sharpness, and mirror-like surfaces. Occasionally, these proof dies are accidentally used on circulation coin blanks or struck improperly, resulting in a proof coin with deep cameo contrast but with glaring mistakes such as doubling, overpolishing that eliminates details, or even mirror finish on one side and matte on the other. These hybrid errors are exceedingly rare and, when combined with the luster and preservation of a proof strike, lead to sky-high demand and breathtaking valuations. Also relevant is the notion of pattern coins and test strikes. Although not officially released to the public, some test strikes or experimental coins may have been produced in the lead-up to the 2009 redesign of the penny and other coins. These pattern coins are not meant for circulation, but occasionally, through error or misconduct, they escape the mint and end up in private hands. If such a test strike bears a 2004 date and can be authenticated as a genuine U.S. Mint product, its rarity is off the charts and its value virtually unbounded. These are the kinds of coins that attract secretive collectors, museum curators, and investors looking to add irreplaceable items to their holdings. Many 2004 cents with errors remain undiscovered in drawers, coin jars, and forgotten collections, which adds to the allure and mystery surrounding them. It's entirely possible that a coin worth millions is sitting unnoticed in a common penny roll, and this fuels the treasure hunt mentality among collectors and hobbyists alike. Stories have emerged of people finding valuable 2004 error pennies while sorting through bulk copper penny lots, often sold by weight, with no idea they were sitting on a fortune. These surprise discoveries feed the legend of the 2004 penny and encourage more people to look closely at what they might otherwise discard. Another layer to this coin's mystique is its performance at auctions and in private sales. Although not all records are public, some 2004 pennies with major errors and in top uncirculated condition have sold for 5, 6, and even 7 figures depending on their rarity and provenance. Coins with a documented chain of ownership, authenticated anomalies, and perfect grades can fetch eye-watering sums, and a select few have approached or exceeded the $32 million mark in private transactions brokered by rare coin dealers. These coins become the centerpiece of private collections, vaults, and sometimes even legal battles over ownership, further cementing their status as historical artifacts rather than mere currency. Grading is crucial in all of this. Coins graded MS 68 or higher are exponentially rarer than those in average condition, and even a single point of difference can mean hundreds of thousands or millions in value. Red designation, given to coins that retain their original copper color without oxidation, is especially critical in 2004 cents, as these colors often fade quickly due to the zinc core's reaction to moisture and air. Finding a red 2004 penny with major errors in pristine uncirculated condition is the holy grail for collectors and a certified ticket to multi-million-dollar territory. The combination of design details also adds weight to its uniqueness. The 2004 penny features the classic Lincoln Memorial reverse design, a beloved motif that connects this coin to decades of history. This design was about to be replaced just 5 years later in 2009 with the Lincoln Bicentennial Series, making 2004 one of the last standard-issue Lincoln Memorial cents and increasing its nostalgic and historical appeal. The convergence of these features, minting errors, transitional period, material anomalies, rare proof hybrids, design significance, speculative demand, and emotional connection, creates a once-in-a-lifetime collectible. In numismatics, value is driven not just by rarity, but by the story behind the coin, and the 2004 1-cent coin offers a layered, rich narrative filled with mystery, unpredictability, and the thrill of the unexpected. As more collectors enter the market and competition intensifies, the few surviving error coins from 2004 will only continue to rise in value, driven by scarcity, condition, and market obsession. If you ever come across a 2004 penny with anything unusual, be it a doubling in the lettering, off-center design, unexpected coloration, weight discrepancy, or any visual anomaly, it's worth a closer look, perhaps even a professional grading and authentication, because you might just be holding the next multi-million-dollar coin. Last, we're diving into the astonishing story of the 1986 1-cent coin, a seemingly ordinary penny that has stunned collectors, numismatists, and investors alike with its jaw-dropping estimated worth of $51 million due to a rare combination of minting errors, production mistakes, and historical anomalies that have pushed its value far beyond what anyone could have imagined when it first rolled off the presses nearly 4 decades ago. So grab your magnifying glasses, hold onto your hats, and let's unpack the secrets behind why this little coin is causing such a massive stir in the numismatic world, starting with its fascinating journey from mundane to monumental, a journey that begins in the heart of the United States Mint during a year when technology was transitioning and quality control was still vulnerable to human error, a perfect storm for collectible oddities, with the 1986 1-cent piece becoming an unintended masterpiece thanks to a cascade of factors beginning with its most infamous error, the double die obverse, a phenomenon where the coin's design is struck twice slightly out of alignment, creating a noticeable doubling effect on key features such as the words, "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the date itself. This doubling is immediately visible to the naked eye on some examples and under magnification on others, making them extremely desirable to error collectors. But this is only the beginning, because some of these coins also exhibit the elusive off-center strike error, where the coin was not properly aligned within the coining press, resulting in a portion of the design being cut off or shifted, creating asymmetry that screams rarity, and the more off-center the strike, the more valuable the coin becomes, especially if the date is still fully visible, which is crucial for identification and authentication. Yet what makes this coin even more compelling is that there have been documented cases of the 1986 penny being struck on the wrong planchet, such as a dime or foreign coin blank, resulting in incorrect diameter, thickness, weight, and color, with some examples showing a silver hue instead of the expected coppery tone. These striking errors not only baffle even experienced collectors but drastically increase value due to the extreme rarity and complexity involved in their creation, and when combined with the transitional issues of the mid-1980s, such as the phasing in of zinc cores with copper plating replacing the traditional bronze composition, we find that some 1986 pennies exhibit plating bubbles, peeling surfaces, or incomplete layers where the zinc core becomes visible due to improper bonding, a minting flaw that not only weakens the structural integrity of the coin but also creates a visual spectacle of textures and metallic contrasts that collectors crave for their uniqueness. And when we factor in the possibility of die cracks, which are fissures in the minting die that get transferred onto the coin's surface as raised lines, we find that several 1986 1-cent coins show prominent die cracks on Lincoln's face, jacket, or even the reverse across the Lincoln Memorial, some forming patterns that resemble lightning bolts or scars that add character and individuality to each coin. And then we have the infamous cut error, a result of a piece of the die breaking off entirely, causing a blob of metal to appear where no design should exist, and these cuts can be found near the rim, in the date, or even obscuring parts of E pluribus unum. And in the rarest of examples, collectors have discovered 1986 pennies with multiple errors on a single coin, such as a double die obverse, off-center strike, and die crack combination, which exponentially increases its value due to compounded rarity. And let's not forget the coins that slip through quality control with rotated dies, meaning the reverse of the coin is misaligned when flipped over, making the Lincoln Memorial appear tilted or completely upside down in relation to Lincoln's bust, a clear sign of minting mishap that is fascinating both from a mechanical and historical standpoint. And as we further investigate these coins, we find that some possess striking anomalies in their rim and edge characteristics, including partial collars, where the collar die fails during minting and leaves a coin that is either slightly expanded or shows a railroad track appearance around the edge, making these pennies look like no other and sparking the curiosity of experts and hobbyists alike. But what truly elevates the 1986 1-cent coin into the upper echelons of numismatic value is the convergence of these errors with historical scarcity, as large-scale hoarding of copper pennies during the early 1980s led to fewer bronze planchet coins entering circulation by 1986. And with the U.S. Mint fully committed to the zinc core composition, coins with off-metal or defective plating became exceedingly rare, especially in high-grade condition. And speaking of grade, the value of a 1986 penny skyrockets when the coin is in uncirculated or mint state, with grading authorities like PCGS or NGC giving MS65 or higher ratings to examples that show pristine surfaces and strong eye appeal. But when these high-grade coins also exhibit major mint errors, they become essentially priceless to certain collectors and can reach astronomical prices at auctions, private sales, or through specialty dealers, with some known specimens fetching tens of thousands of dollars and others being speculated to be worth well into the millions based on the perfect storm of rarity, error type, historical context, and collector demand. and as we navigate this complex and thrilling world of coin collecting, we learn that each 1986 penny must be evaluated on a case-by-case basis, as even the tiniest variation, such as a filled die where part of the design disappears due to debris clogging the die, or clash marks where parts of the die imprint one another, without a planchet in between, can add significant value, and when authenticated by top-tier certification companies and showcased at coin shows or online marketplaces, these coins attract intense bidding wars among elite collectors who understand their worth not just in monetary terms but as artifacts of minting history and mechanical happenstance, and some collectors have taken it even further, exploring the potential for undiscovered varieties, engaging in in-depth metallurgical analysis and microscopic photography to catalog previously undocumented errors that could command even higher premiums if verified by authorities in the field, leading to speculation that there may be even more rare 1986 1-cent coins hiding in old change jars, forgotten rolls, or bulk bags, just waiting to be discovered by the next lucky numismatist. And it's stories like these that keep the coin collecting community alive with excitement, reminding us that treasure doesn't always come in gold or jewels, but sometimes in the overlooked copper discs we pass every day without a second glance, which is why examining your spare change isn't just a fun hobby, but potentially a life-changing endeavor. And as collectors continue to trade stories and display their rare finds on forums, social media, and YouTube channels like this one, the legend of the 1986 1-cent coin continues to grow, cementing its place in numismatic folklore as not just a rare coin but a symbol of how chaos at the mint can give birth to multimillion-dollar miracles. And so we thank you for joining us on this deep dive into one of the most fascinating and valuable pennies ever produced by the U.S. Mint, and we invite you to like, subscribe, and stay tuned as we uncover more extraordinary coins that may be hiding right under your nose, because in the world of coin collecting, even a single cent can be worth a fortune.